my butterflies.
Hey everybody, it's Carl Bledsoe with Just Gate. We're here today with Melissa Pless. We're going to talk with Melissa. She's had her horse here with me for right about a year. We met years ago when I was still doing the show horse thing, but we weren't connected. And you actually saw me a little over a year ago at Southern Equine Horse Expo in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Yes.
And you watched my presentations up there. What made you decide to come over and ask me the questions that you asked me? You asked me first about starting a horse, but you had some other stuff going on. Tell me about that.
I had a lot of stuff going on in my life at that time. I had some personal things that just kind of defeated me, and I felt like I was to the point where it was time for me to give up horses and lay that part of my life down. And so you just had a different outlook at Southern Equine Expo.
You said that, but you said two or three things to me that really resonated with me, and you had, at that point in time, you relayed to me that other people had told you that too. And I don't want to go too far down that road, but you came back to me the second and the third time over that weekend and asked me if I was sure about two or three things. Can you talk about that?
Well, I've been active with horses my whole life, but I've had some health issues and things, and had put on some weight and gained weight, and so I had been listening to the voices, other people, and the ones in my head saying that you need to stop riding, that you're too heavy, you're going to hurt your horse. And so I had just gotten to the point where I was resigned to giving up on riding, that it was the best thing for me, best thing for my horse. I needed to just close this chapter and move on. And so I just felt a spark with Carl and Tammy. They just kind of gave me a little hope and made me feel like I could approach them and talk to them about my concerns, and to see, realistically, if there was hope for me to be able to start riding and learning a better way to ride.
Did it surprise you at our response?
At that point, I was so defeated that I had to hear it a couple of times.
Okay.
But I felt very encouraged, and it kind of gave me just that little glimmer of hope.
Right. So I never try to put any limitations on anybody when it comes to a horse, but I do try to put the responsibility of the parameters that we have with the horse. What was my response to you about what we could do?
Well, of course, it goes back to your training. Let's build your horse up so your horse can better carry you, and build her back up and things. And the horse I thought about bringing you is not the horse I ended up bringing.
Right.
I brought my baby.
Right. Right. We started one from scratch.
Yes.
That didn't have any history, so it's taken us a little while, and we're still working on developing the top line. But it took you a little while before you decided to bring her. There was a little lapse of time. Of course, I was busy too. Did you struggle with the decision before you brought her?
Yeah, I struggled a little bit because I didn't have any confidence yet.
Right.
And so I struggled with, is this the right thing? I had to get in the right headspace.
Okay.
For me.
Okay.
But then once I decided to bring her, I was ready that I was going to do this. Now, I didn't have any confidence yet in myself. And it's been a journey, but it's been a great journey.
Was the process, once you got the horse here and once we got started, was it anything like you thought it would be beforehand?
No, it was very different. I've been around horses my whole life, and I didn't know enough about the process yet to really just put one foot in front of the other and just try to keep in step with you and do what you were telling me to do. And finally it started clicking for me, but I'm so glad that we took this journey with this horse and started her from scratch, and that she had.
But it's not about me, is it?
No, it's not about you.
It's not about me at all, is it?
It is not about the Carl and Tammy show. I tell you, anybody that comes and meets y'all and does a clinic, they're going to learn that you're there for the horse, and that you're there to encourage and help others get the best relationship out of their horse.
So, go ahead.
And so I feel like being on this journey with y'all, it's helped me so much to be able to learn these new skills in an environment where I don't feel judged or, you know, feel like I'm doing the wrong thing all the time. I'm okay making mistakes. At first I wasn't. I was too hard on myself. But now I've learned that it's okay to make a mistake and that y'all meet me right where I'm at and encourage me and help me get through it.
Well, there's some other things that's going on too. You've gone through kind of a transformation. What facilitated, what about this process got you to a point where you've made the changes that you've made?
I made the change to live. I wasn't going to sit on the sidelines and whatever was left. I have a lot of health problems, have had a lot of health problems for years, and had a lot of personal things go on that would kind of drag me down with family health problems and things. And I just decided that I wasn't going to sit on the sidelines anymore and feel like I was just waiting till I died. I was going to go out on my terms, in my style. And so that's a big change in your head to decide that this is not how I'm going to finish out my life. I'm going to do something out of my comfort zone and go out with a blaze of glory if I go out.
So you say comfort zone. Have you been outside of your comfort zone through this process?
Yes. Constantly out of my comfort zone. But it's been the best thing ever for me is to push myself a little bit.
Well,
I haven't felt like I was pushed too hard. I felt like the timing was just right.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, who are you encouraged to listen to, us or the horse?
I'm trying to listen to the horse and how I'm riding the horse, but I also need your voice and Tammy's voice to help me put it in perspective and learn what's the correct way. You know, I've ridden horses my whole life, and I've done it wrong for a whole life.
Well, you know, I never try to tell anybody they're wrong. Sometimes you just can find a better way that makes more sense to the horse.
Yes.
And the journey that I've been on is I've had to modify the way that I do things from one horse to the other. It's not always a one size fits all. The biggest thing that I had to comprehend, and you'll probably, when I say this, you'll probably elaborate. I had to learn how to let go and turn loose and release. And that was the hardest thing for me because I wanted to always make it happen instead of letting it happen. Has it been that?
Yes, we've had that conversation before. I'm trying to make everything happen on my terms, and I've learned that I've got to turn loose and just let it happen.
So
when we were riding one lesson and I was trying so hard, I think it was the last lesson, I was trying so hard with my groundwork and stuff, and my mare got a little bit, not excited, but she was a little bit, keyed up a little bit, and you told me, are you ready? Are you ready? And I finally said, yes, I'm ready, and you said, let her go. And that was such an amazing thing. She came right back to me and had a whole different energy, and I was like, I've got to start letting things go. And looking back on the way home, that really resonated with me, that I needed to let a lot of things go in my life and just let it happen. Just keep trying to move forward. Forward's the key to everything.
Forward fixes everything.
And that's what I've been doing on this journey, just trying to keep going forward.
So you've participated in a small clinic with me. You've gone to actually you went to another clinic in Clemson, South Carolina, and spent the weekend. Have the tools that you've worked on here, did they help you?
Oh yes, it applies. It's applied not only to me and my riding, but I encountered some people there that had a lot of fear issues, like I had started having before I came here. I had a bad fall on a horse and was just really too fearful to let go and ride, and so I met another rider there that had the same issue, and I could hear you and Tammy in my head, and I kept parroting what you and Tammy would say, and it worked for her. And you know, she was able to get through that weekend.
Well, and
with her
you know,
horse.
Tammy stays behind the scenes. Everybody hears me talk about her, and at a clinic or two, you know, I pick on Tammy, and she will interject at points and times, but a lot of people don't understand the part that she plays in this whole thing. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, I pretty much think Tammy's amazing. She's that behind the scenes person, but she always knows when to step in, and she can give that encouraging word, and she can talk you down and put it in a little bit different perspective. And she is an absolute wonderful instructor in her own right. So it's definitely a gift to have her at a clinic and get to spend time with her.
Yeah, I'm very thankful. She's it's funny. She doesn't correct me directly, but she will give me food for thought. She'll occasionally she'll send me a video when I'm working a horse and making like 500 mistakes, instead of her walking out there and saying you're doing this wrong or this, that, the other. She'll just send me the video and say, well, what was this? And it's actually gotten me to where I get her a little bit more interactive when I'm working a horse. We've even videoed me riding your mare, just for me to make adjustments in my seat to help your mare carry herself a little bit better. And at the end of the day, that's what it takes. And we are big proponents for education and understanding the horse from an anatomical perspective, because if you understand how the anatomy works, then you can understand how the mind works. Has that entered into any of this in our lessons when you've come to talk to me? Have you picked up on stuff that you didn't know beforehand as far as that?
Yes, and going back, rewinded to when we first talked up in Tennessee, my biggest fear with my horse was she stumbles. And I had a horse that, it wasn't my horse, but I was riding another horse, and it stumbled and it fell and it did a somersault, and I did a somersault. And I cowgirled up and got back on the horse, and it did it again. I didn't do it the third time, but that scared me to the point where I was afraid to ride. And so one of the questions I talked to y'all about is my horse stumbling. I'm afraid to ride her because she's going to fall down with me. That's when you introduced me to the whole thoracic sling and carrying themselves correctly. That's what really kind of got me thinking up there.
Well, the reason I asked that, your mare, of course, she's a Tennessee walking horse, and a lot of those are built a little longer and rangier, and it takes a little while to develop muscle. Has it been? Were you surprised at the length of time it's taken us to get her to where she's at this point in training?
It's a slower process than most trainers. It's been well worth it. The best thing I ever did for my horse. Because she has a foundation that she can build on and carry herself correctly. I'm just impressed that she finds her center of gravity just standing still. She finds herself.
Right.
And so I feel because she's still, in my eyes, a baby, but I feel confident on her. I don't feel like she's going to throw me off as far as lose her feet and let's go crash into the ground. I don't feel that with her because she's balanced. But she needed help being balanced because she was a lanky, girl.
The process with her, it's been about a year. And we've actively worked, but it takes muscle development, takes the time that it makes. We were starting with a clean slate with her. She had never had anything done besides she was halter broke pretty good. I get retrained horses in here that have been ridden in a different posture, and their muscling is completely incorrect, and I have to retrain those. What would you say to somebody if they had a retrained horse that's going to take some time to redevelop that muscle? Would you tell them to work on that, or would you tell them to get a different horse and start over? What would you? You've seen some of my restarts, and you understand some of the pitfalls that I fall into with how people look at that. Can you elaborate?
I don't think you need a new horse.
Okay.
I think that there's nothing wrong with your horse. You just got to approach it different. And if you love your horse, spend the time to do it right, and it'll pay off. It may seem slow and methodical, but I'm so super proud of how good she's doing based on, your principles and the way you train. Don't get rid of your rework horse. Spend the time, that money you're going to spend getting you a new horse. Spend the time for your horse to fix your horse.
Has it changed your approach?
Yes, I handle horses completely different. Completely different.
Okay.
And it's hard for me now to watch other people handling them the old way, I guess I should say. I'm like, I wouldn't have done it that way. I'd have done this, because I've seen such great results.
Okay. Cool. So, with me, it's all about the horse and what the horse has to offer us. If you ran across somebody, or if there's somebody watching that were at that crossroads where they were in everybody, all the girls that trail ride have a group of buddies that they trail ride with, and some of their buddies are nice to them, and some of their buddies are not always so nice to them, and you understand what I'm saying. What would be your words to somebody that had a horse that had been discouraged, ran into problems, was at the point that they didn't know whether they wanted to continue on? What would you say to those folks about what the horse has done for you? Not necessarily me, not necessarily being here, but just in general. What is this, just the process with this mare and the interaction, taking me out of the equation? Can you talk about that?
It's been the best therapy all the way around for me in life. It's got my head in a better space. I physically am in a much stronger place now, that I can do what I want to with my horse, and I don't give out. So physically, mentally, just I'm in a good place. Give yourself the chance to take the journey with your horse. There's a lot of healing in a horse, and just, if someone's discouraging you, I have a lot of people that discouraged me and told me I didn't need to ride anymore. Don't listen to that voice. Knock that voice off your shoulder. Go out there and get another opinion. Come to somebody that knows what they're doing and give it a try. What you going to do by giving it a try? There's no problem with that. Give yourself a chance. Give your horse a chance.
So can I get just a little bit personal here?
Yeah.
How much weight have you lost?
I think I'm at 121 today.
What was the incentive?
I wanted to ride my horse. My horse, I bred her. I waited for a long time to find the right stud to breed my mare to, and this has been my dream horse. And
Give me just a second. There we go.
This has been my dream horse, and so I had given up right when I got her to the age where she was ready to come to the trainer. I'm thinking about hanging it up and not doing anything. I started on the journey and
But me
decided,
and Tammy aren't the reason that you got on this journey.
No,
Tammy and I aren't the reason, and your horse being here aren't the reason that you changed your life.
No, I did it for me.
Okay.
I
Was the horse the biggest part of that? Was the relationship that you were developing with this mare, did it give you the incentive?
Yes, it did. It gave me the incentive to do it helped me in all aspects of my life. It helped me with my family. It helped me with my friends. It's just a different approach. It gave me some confidence that I had lost. And so it's been the best journey I've ever taken for myself. It's okay to do something for yourself. It's not selfish. It's it helps you get in the place where you can help others or help your family members or whatever. But it was all because of the horse.
Well, that's what Tammy and I, when we penned our little catchphrase, "What's in it for the horse," we in the back of our minds we said to one another, if it's good for the horse, it's got to be good for the people.
Yes. Yes.
And we have stuck with that, and I have been able to go and do some things that ordinarily I wouldn't have been able to do. But I've never tried to take the credit for that, because there are people out there that can train a whole lot better than me. They can get quicker results. What is the one thing that sticks out in your mind about your process coming down here, having these lessons? Because I'm some days I'm a little bit comical, and some days I'm a little bit silly, and some days I'm serious. What's the one thing that you've gotten from me over and over and over and over and over again about this process? Because you got involved with this mare right off. I made you do in-hand work and start recognizing what her feet were doing and how she felt on your hands and the halter. Mm-hmm. If you could tell somebody about this process, what's the one thing you could?
It's all about communication. I did not realize I was not communicating with horses the way they needed me to communicate with them. So by you making me come and do the lessons and learning how to do it, it translated into building that relationship with my horse. And I feel like, when I turned her loose that day and she came right back with me and rested, that's communication. That's a relationship. Mm-hmm. And so I just keep putting one foot in front of the other, keep that forward.
Okay.
And I get the communication. But you have, you can send your horse to the best trainer in the world. But if you don't go and spend time with that horse and learn how that horse is learning, and y'all join together and do it together, you're not going to have anything. It's going to fall apart the second week you get them home. I've been there.
Okay.
Build the time, the communication, learn on the ground, and then translate it into the saddle.
Okay, well, that's about all the time we have today. I appreciate you sitting down here and being candid with me. Mm-hmm. This has been a fun process for me to watch you go through. Not only have I enjoyed working with the mare, but I've gained a real good friend in the process too, and it's a relationship that'll last through time. So Tammy and I both appreciate that, and I hope you have a good, wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you.
So thank you guys for listening. Keep in touch. We're going to share some more of these stories along with people that we have come across in our travels, and I hope that it resonates with somebody. And if you need some help with your horse and it's not something that we can help you with, I hope you find somebody that will help you find this relationship. Y'all have a great day.